just wanted to, when you see a team like an Arizona, like a Baltimore, I mean, does it give more motivation? Hey, this can happen before people expect.
There's other teams that have done it in the past. You go back to the Braves in early 90s, right? It was 89, 90, 91. So Texas did it too here. But, yeah, it's happened. And,
Right, and you guys have done it before too, right?
Correct.
Yeah. What is it about the new playoff formats? Does that also give teams a little bit?
I think it does. More clubs, more opportunities.
When you look at your roster, and a couple of guys I've been interested in are Tolia and Montero, guys who are big guys. They hit a lot in AAA. What needs to get them over the hump?
Consistency up here.
What's that?
Consistency. Bottom line is just being consistent.
When you saw the end of last season with Montero, what was it you saw that led you to believe, hey, he's kind of turning the corner?
Well, he made some adjustments. Really, it was kind of in August, right? We were in Tampa, and Clint Hurdle was having to be with us, and he made some swing adjustments, and I think that helped him the last month of the season, those adjustments.
Michael Tolia, obviously he's looked like the guy who's needed to make some.
Michael went down to Winter Ball, did well playing for Vinny down there in Monterey, made some good adjustments.
Yeah, it looked like also from the left side and right side he made them. What did you see from the right side that hey?
Probably a little more load, you're getting more out of his lower half.
And what about the left side? What was the?
I always think his swing's been pretty good left-handed. For me, it's been more right-handed.
With Montero, with the growth that he made late last year, I mean, Bryant's going to be playing more first base. Where does kind of Montero fit in that mix?
We'll figure it out as the spring goes on. He's going to have to earn a spot. He's out of options. So, could be a corner utility, could be a DH, part-time.
Will we see Bryant, in addition to playing first base, obviously he'll have some days as DH? Could we see him a little bit in right field?
Yes.
Year to give Montero ABs?
Yes.
How much would you?
That's up to Buddy, balancing all that out, and with the rest of the dynamics of the ball club.
In regard to Riley Pine, I was talking to Riley today. He only has 1/3 of an inning pitching in the majors. I assume the reason he's still on the 40-man is because of his potential, because of that arm, because of what you guys hope he's going to find eventually. Is that a fair way to phrase it?
I think there's still people in our organization that believe in the talent, believe in the person, and then we're going to play it out and see how to the very end.
What have you seen from him, particularly last year? I mean, he did get called up for a brief time. What have you seen from Riley that shows you that he's making some incremental progress?
I think the slider. I think that's a quality major league pitch. The ability to get out really comes down to the ability to command the fastball, or really control the fastball. But the sliders, it's a quality pitch.
Was there any conversation about maybe him going and pitching a little bit in the Winter League?
No, he got married. There was other things going on in his life. So, and he had thrown enough last year.
With a guy like him and kind of the path that he's been through, what do you see out of him as far as makeup and confidence at this stage of his life?
I think from year to year he's showing more and more. He's believing in himself. I think he's having fun.
Early on, was maybe he wasn't having fun with all the expectation and everything?
Yeah, I think there's some things that went on in his past that took the fun out of the game for him. And really the last couple of years, I think it's been, since he's come back, he's having fun. And he enjoys being around his teammates and competing.
Did you guys maybe have any discussions, or you yourself just kind of not handle him differently? Like you said, there might have been this pressure, and he, retired, kind of got a reset. Do you approach him maybe a little differently than you did when he was first drafted, let's say?
No, I don't think. I think Chris Forbes and our player development staff has done a good job with him since he's been back.
Billy, if I use the term, you guys are in the middle of a youth movement, is that overstating, or do you think that's a fair characterization?
I think we have some good young quality players. And last year you look at, the Doyles, the Jones, the Towars. I think this year, ideally, there's going to be some other that hopefully work their way up here. And I think we're building the foundation of a pretty good ball club.
And that is kind of what the future of this organization is you take write the next chapter, so to speak, right?
Correct.
Good young talent coming up.
No, I like some of our young players. I believe in them, and I think they believe in themselves too.
And so now the next part is pairing the good young position players and getting some pitchers healthy.
Correct.
Building the rotation and matching.
Yeah, and I think we have some talent. I mean, like I've said it, we've acquired 37 pitchers in the last it's longer than 18 months now, 20 some months, and somebody's going to surprise us in that group, and then we're going to develop a couple of them. Chase Dolander's a good-looking kid, and we'll get Hughes back, and some of the other kids that got Vargas will be back at some point, and I think they'll make the steps, help us going forward.
Is it difficult for you as the GM and your front office staff and even Buddy to go through this transition period knowing that there's going to be rough patches in seasons like last year? Or can you describe what keeps you heading toward the future?
Oh, you believe. You got to have a belief of what you're doing and the players and the talent that you have coming. And I think that's the fun thing of trying to build something that's going to sustain over time. Just not be short, and the foundation is going to be our young players.
And those young players, you hope will give you
a longer window of opportunity. Right.
You kind of step back and look at what you're developing in the outfield. It looks like you've got some competition among those guys, whether it's Veed, Fernandez, Beck, Sterling Thompson, all those guys. How big is that in an organization, not just to say, hey, you're a guy, we're going to put you through here. You have to compete with the guy beside you.
Oh, it's good. I think anytime there's competition, and then at the same point, we're going to have to make some decisions on which ones we keep and which ones we'll use to try to help us in other areas that we need help.
Was there any thought of maybe using some of those guys this offseason? We feel like they needed to develop more until.
If the right thing came about, we would have considered it. Just the right thing didn't come about.
We're talking possible trade.
Yes.
Yeah. So because you do have a stockpile in the outfield of talented young players with a lot of potential, and there's not room for all of them, what you're saying is
at some point in time we're going to have to make decisions.
Right. And that's a good thing.
It's a very good
They
thing.
force you to make good decisions.
Yes.
The decisions that were made at the last year's trade deadline seemed positive. Again, you stockpiled arms, created room for some of the young guys. Do you kind of foresee something like that happen maybe again this trade deadline if those opportunities come up?
We'll see. I'm not gonna. Who knows what the future holds in that end. We'll see.
Did it help? Kind of. I know there were no trades in the 2022 deadline, but did it feel like it was good to re-engage maybe with some teams to know that you're willing to do a little wheeling and dealing? And
I think people knew what we were trying to do, and that we had good players that fit what they were trying to do.
Billy, regarding Brendan Rodgers, he's your second baseman now. He's got a Gold Glove. You know his potential's there if he stays healthy. But you also have some young guys coming up. There's been speculation about him in the past in terms of a trade. Just point blank. I mean, is that something that is part of B-Rod's future, or is that something you don't want to comment on?
I'm not going to. I mean, all I'll say is I believe in B-Rod. I think he has a chance to be a good player, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play this year and have a good season. He's coming into camp looking real good. I think he's ready to break out.
Some of your pitchers that struggled a bit last year, just, were getting some experience at the big league level. Which of those guys do you feel is going to take the next step, whether it's Lambert, Feltner, Davis, that group?
That's the great thing about young kids. You don't know what to expect. But they're talented, and somebody in that group could be Justice. He went through some growing pains coming up. Hollowell. Somebody's going to step forward. We'll be anxious to see who that is.
Yeah, Vodnik is part of that group.
No doubt.
Where is Ryan Rollison right now? In terms
He's
of
here.
Shoulder?
He's healthy. He'll be in our minor league camp. Look forward to him. I don't know exactly, Patrick, what the timetable is for him, if he'll be ready in April, but I know he's in camp and I know he's throwing.
I know I talked to him and he had said that it really helped his mind figuring out that there was something wrong in there. And
Correct.
he kept trying to come back.
Yeah, having 2 surgeries on the same shoulder, it's tough, but I really don't have the timetable for him, to be honest. So.
And, well, the other thing, too, is I've written a little about it, but do you feel like you're at the best point in years as far as catching is concerned? The fact that you have guys that are...
We like our young catching. And we like Diaz and we like Stallings, but, Romo's making strides full for, some of our young catchers. We feel real good about.
I know the international market, you guys have done really well with some of the Latin American players. Also seems like that's been the case the last few years on the catching front. Anything that, in particular to kind of point to the fact that you've been developing a lot?
Rolando and his team down there have done a very good job acquiring talent.
And to the catching, how the
talent's
improved too.
Yeah, it has. As long as the arms and the bats, Rolando's respected down there and has done a good job.
What can you tell me about this season in Amador? I know he's very young. He's got to go through. I think you've said many times, most players at some point are going to have to face, I don't know if failure is the word, but they're going to have to deal with struggles and get past that. Where do you see Amador? I know you guys are very high on his skill set.
Yeah.
Where do you see him this year?
I foresee him probably starting at Hartford in Double-A.
Okay.
He's come into camp. He's in good shape. Played winter ball a little bit. The last 2 months where he's coming off the hamate. He's coming back after a little layoff. I thought he struggled a little with Double-A, so we'll see how he handles Double-A. But I think he's a very, very talented player.
What do you like about him? First, as a second baseman, I know he came up as a shortstop, but as a second baseman, so that's one, his skill set, and 2, the personality,
he always has
voice,
a smile, right?
Whatever it is.
His baseball IQ, his ability to understand the strike zone. He walks more and he strikes out. He brings a unique skill set for us, and that's, being a good table setter, but just a unique, innate ability to hit. Defensively, yeah, he can play short. I think we have some other kids we think he might be better suited. We'll play him. We'll take a look at shortstop. We haven't ruled that out. Just there's been some other guys, and as he's come up higher, we've moved more to second base. But first and foremost, I think he's just a solid player.
Line drive hitter with
more gap,
with a few homers in there.
Yeah, he'll hit some home runs at the major league level.
Does he have the home run potential that Tovar has? Are they similar in that regard, or has Tovar got maybe a little more?
I think
pop?
Tovar's probably got a little bit more pop than him,
Okay.
But in our ballpark at Coors Field, I could see some doubles, triples, because he can hit some line drives in the gap.
How much did the scouting of the guy who walks more than he strikes out, how much is that kind of risen in your evaluations of hitters? Are you looking for more guys like
I'm
that?
just looking for good hitters.
Because good hitters can hit home runs
Good hitters.
and strike out too.
Well, you got to hit 300 before you hit 20.
Okay.
But trying to find somebody, we're looking for good hitters, and that's where Amador, his skill set, that's what he brings.
With Tovar's maturity in 2022, he started at Double-A, great spring training, and then you got to see him debut. Could you foresee something like that happening for Amador if everything kind of falls right?
Well, the difference was Tovar played the whole year at Double-A. Amador played the whole year at Spokane in just a couple weeks. So I don't think those are identical situations.
Yeah. Well, he'll be going into this year at Double-A
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how the season goes for him.
It will be like you were saying, I think, in the past, like Zach Veen's going to dictate.
Yeah, I think all the young players do. They dictate. They tell you where they're at. This spring training will tell us where some kids are at.
Veen, you had told me before, and I assume this is still the case, Bill. Most likely starting point for him is back at Hartford.
Not necessarily.
Not
We'll
necessarily.
see how the spring goes.
Okay. I know, and I talked to him this the other day, and I know how much that wrist injury affected him even before the surgery. He kept trying to play through it. Didn't work out, and then he had the surgery. Do you think he's at a place right now that he could start taking off a little bit?
Oh, you hope so.
Because he had that terrific spring, and then he struggled in Hartford. A lot of guys
Now we find out he had the wrist thing that he dealt with. We'll see. He's come into camp. He looks healthy. He played good in winter ball the short time he was down there in Puerto Rico. He's come in with some confidence. That's what's going to be fun here in the next 6 weeks, watching some of these kids play.
He came in really aggressive last year, swinging out a lot of pitches.
I think he's learned. He's matured in the last year.
Has that been kind of a point of emphasis in coaching? Like, okay, now you need to understand.
No, I think they learn. I think they do the good ones do some self-evaluation, and they figure out after they've been through it a year, what did you learn through the experience? And he would probably tell you that, process of growing up, he's still a young kid.
And I'm sure you guys, has he expressed that to you?
I think not necessarily myself, but he's talked with our staff. There's people that communicate with him, and he's acknowledged that he's growing up.
As you mentioned, the depth in the outfield, 4 guys that are probably somewhat ticketed for Double-A with Bean, Montgomery, Yankiel, and Jordan Beck. If all 4 are healthy, will all 4 start at Double-A?
It could happen. We'll see how the spring goes. You also have the DH spot, so one night one guy can DH, the other 3 can play the outfield. We'll try to do what's best for each individual kid.
Obviously, some of those guys, a good spring could that land them in Triple-A as opposed to Double-A?
We'll do what's best for the player.
Good.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks.
Bill, thank you.
We could have done this in a